Much for inviting me to come back and to celebrate Native American Month. It's a joy and a pleasure and an honor to be here, especially during this incredible, beautiful fall that we've had. And I know that's not true for all parts of the country and the world, but it's been quite beautiful. So what better way to get started today than to say a prayer to all four directions, to hold our space, to help us hold space, and we can continue. So close your eyes and join me as we say a prayer to the spirit guides of the north to come and hold our conscious divine space. Keep this portal safe for all of us here, our families, and for the world. Spirit guide of the east, we ask you to come and hold strong our intellect, our knowing, and keep us safe as we create the circle of divine and sacred story today. Spirit guide of the south, we ask you to hold our feet and our bodies and our souls grounded in earth for all of us, our families, and the world as we join together in the sacred circle today. And Spirit guide of the west, the place that welcomes the sun as you welcome our hearts and our desires and our intentions. May you hold this safe place for all of us in the divine sacred hoop today. And I invoke Lord Ganesha as the center and the nucleus from which all things grow and are protected. We thank you for honoring us as we honor you on this day. Oh. Hi. So, today's talk, welcoming our roots. As usual with me, when I'm asked to give a title, something comes out. And then later I sit there and I look at it and I'm like, I wonder what that even means. Well, I think it means just that, welcoming our roots. That's why we're here today. We're here today, we've gathered here today to celebrate Native American Month, Indigenous Month. As also Sangoma, the South Africa people of Soweto and Mamelodi, it's important to me when I think about Native American tradition to think about the oneness of all Indigenous traditions. So we are here to honor all those that came before us. Welcoming is a paradigm shift, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. So I had a bunch of notes, I had things written down, but as I was getting ready to sit in front of the computer, I got to keep all distractions away and to allow the downloads and the divine to channel through me today. So bear with me as I center myself to allow that to happen, because they are excited to be celebrated, to be appreciated. Welcoming our roots means that a paradigm shift from doing to receiving. From the beginning of time, since before Abraham, and before that, there have been humans and the indigenous people. They have lived one with the earth and the roots. What does that mean? That means who we are from the beginning of time. Our DNA, our genetics, our ancestors, our collective unconscious, our oneness with Mother Earth. When we just take a moment to remember that, even, which is very, very hard anymore, everything's harder. I mean, I'm sure you've all noticed, right? The last 2 years have been nothing but strife, fear, difficulty. Technology, our physiology has not caught up with the technology we're creating, the EMF radiations, all of these hits that are constantly coming at us don't allow who we are to be, if you will. There's the constant distraction of everything around us, the politics, the fear, the constant picking sides and holding tight and, battling and being right and being angry. That's one thing which has been the last 2 years, and people have been sick. We've lost a lot of people. The earth is, mama, she's in turmoil, right? So if we can just honor that for a moment, because we are pushing uphill all the time. Even those of us that meditate and pray on a regular basis, but that's sometimes harder these days. But more often than not, what's happening, it's not sticking with us. And how could it? Again, because we're constantly bombarded. And we already have the genetic coding, if you will, of 30 to 50 thoughts a minute, the committees and the subcommittees constantly yapping away. We don't even hear all of it. And then add all of these things that we just talked about. How do we go from fighting through that, pushing through that, to a place of reception, to a place of welcoming, to a place of remembering? You know, we could spend a lot of time in remembering the near genocide of the Native American people, and we should take a moment, actually. We will take a moment, and we will say a prayer for all those in our history on this land and all those that are still struggling. Thank you. We can spend a lot of time there, but what we're being asked to, obviously, is to honor that and remember that, but asked to remember who our roots were, what our roots were. Our roots are humans living in oneness, learning from what they saw around them. Well, maybe not all interpretations were correct, but there was a way in which I kill for food. I use every piece of that animal in one way or another, and I thank it every moment for feeding me and my family, for clothing me and my family, for decorating me and my family, for offering parts for ceremony as we say gratitude to the animals. When was the last time any of us remembered to do something like that? Many people pray before a meal, which is wonderful. When was the last time we remembered that? And a story is popping into my head that's not Native American, but I'm going to share. And I may not tell it correctly, but there's a story of a samurai warrior, and he's hungry and he's chasing this sheep. And he's going to get it, and he's going to get it. You know, the sheep is cunning and is hiding. He's chasing after him, and this goes on for day after day. And he's getting more and more frustrated till finally one moment he has this sheep cornered, and he takes his sword, but their eyes lock. And, he saw life, right? And their eyes lock, and he hesitates. And the sheep looks at him and says, "Go ahead. I was you once." I love that story because to honor and to remember is what welcoming is. And again, the question is, how do we do that in this, chaotic, crisis-driven environment that we are in? How do we do that? It doesn't take much. We're here right now. We're doing it right now. We are welcoming, we're inviting. So as the energies are coming through me and speaking, I ask those of you that are here with me right now to pause. Do you feel a different energy around you? Do you sense something? If you do, those are the whispers of our roots. Those are the songs of our roots. I have this huge fascination with roots in general. I don't know if any of you like to be outside, like to be in nature, but what is always stunning to me is how the tree roots, they travel not just to solidify the tree that they are holding, but to gain nourishment, right? To feed off the soil, to absorb, the water, to absorb the wetness, the drink, to absorb the food and the nourishment that Mother Earth provides. And when nature does what it does and, changes the lay of the land, or we humans have done that, what do the roots do? They crawl over rock and they still find a way. And I love to see these, trees that are coming off the side of a rock. that is a collaboration that, well, I feel personally, and I'm feeling the guides that are coming through me in agreement that it's what's missing. To receive is what's missing. To remember to welcome, i.e., to receive, is missing. Not a statement of a judgment, but more of we have been caught up in the tornado of all of these things. And how could we not? How could we not? But what we are being given today is soothing, is compassion, and a reminder. A reminder that in our DNA, in our consciousness, however any of us view what that is, are the memories of all the stories that have ever been told. And uniquely for each of us, the stories of our ancestors. What does it take to receive that? What the indigenous people in the past did, they had time, right? There wasn't this constant rush to respond to a text message, It was group chats, boom, 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 boom. There wasn't that. So there was opportunity to listen. And as they listened, truth was unveiled. We still all have that mechanism. Our ancestors want to speak to us. Each of us come with angels. You know, the Bible says we each get 2 angels, spirit guides. However you want to think about that, we all have help. But we're so in the chaos that, we've kind of pushed them away. Welcoming the stories of the roots that hold us still solid. So we're all here because of our roots, right? The indigenous people took time for ceremony. We are right now in ceremony. Ceremony means honoring, means remembering, it means asking. So what do we want to remember today? I think we're talking a little bit about that. What do we want to welcome today? We want to welcome the opportunity to be reminded that we can be in ceremony each day, regardless of the chaos. That we can take what the indigenous people taught us, because it's inside of us, we can hear about it, and we can take that and make it for us today. And what that is receiving, listening. And receiving and welcoming is every moment of the day, even when we're, uber stressed and hyper stressed, but to take that moment and say, yeah, Mother Earth, Father Sky. Father Sky thinks a thought, Mother Earth creates it. We think a thought, we can create it. When we're in chaos, we're creating more chaos. We all know this, we've read it, we understand it here. The indigenous people lived it. So in ceremony, there's always the asking, the welcoming, the receiving, because that wisdom is here. Our higher self is here. So what do we want to hear today? I think we want to hear that we want to welcome, to remember to say, welcome, come. Come walk with me. Come be in ceremony with me. Today's really hard. I welcome your wisdom. I welcome your strength. To invite is what we're being asked to remember today. So welcoming our roots means the invitation for the solidness of Mother Earth as we sway with the leaves and the wind and the seasons, as the storms come, to welcome the strength of Mother Earth and all of those who came before. We have all of that inside. And sometimes it's as simple as being the tree, in yoga, it's be the mountain, be the tree, grow our roots. But sometimes it's as easy as a breath. It's as easy as a breath. So let's take a pause for a moment and let that settle in. And I'm going to ask you to just close your eyes and open your heart. Just take a moment to open your heart. Take a deep breath. And all of your guides, all of the history that's sitting with us in this moment. And the beauty of the digital experience is that it stays in the moment. It's always accessible. So as we close our eyes and open our hearts and feel the energies, I'm going to ask you to take a moment to welcome, to just say welcome. The stories of the world of Mother Earth welcome and nourish me. Feed me, guide me. Take a deep breath into that. Allow it to be. Whatever comes is yours, right? Whatever comes, it's yours. Now, as we're in this space, the Sanskrit word for Mother Earth is Mahabhumi. I love that. Great Mother Earth, Mahabhumi. And when I say that, don't you hear the rhythm of the drum? Mahabhumi, Mahabhumi. The rhythm of Mother Earth, which is one with the drum, right? Mahabhumi, 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 Mahabhumi. Feel that. So I know that typically the talk is separate from the meditation. That's all right. But we're being guided because we're in this space, in this moment, to move into today's meditation. And then we will wrap with the rest of whatever the talk is, which I don't know yet. So as we're in the rhythm of Mahabhumi, Mahabhumi, now whisper it to yourselves, say it out loud, say it deep inside. We're going to say it 9 times. And in that, we're invoking the roots of the people and the stories of what we need today. Mahabhumi, 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 Mahabhumi. Take a deep breath. Now, be one with the ocean. It doesn't feel cold to you because you're one with it. Feel the gentle movement of the water through your body. Because remember, in Chinese medicine and in indigenous medicine, there's an understanding that everything in earth lives with us. So we are the ocean, we have the ocean. And as we're in this ocean, feel the call of the whale, the beauty of the whale, of the humpback as she's moving through the water. You feel her jump out of the water and the water spouts out of her. And you're looking around and look at all the coral, all of the life, the fluorescent neon life that's the ocean. And as you expand through the ocean, you step up onto shore and you feel the earth within you, on your feet, the rock, the formations. And you look across And you see the animals of the indigenous people. You see elk, deer, bear, horses running. Hear them? You can hear the horses on the earth. That is a part of you as they're running free. And all of us yearn for that. We yearn for the freedom of the swimming in the ocean, the running free of the horses. Breathe that in. Now we're going to walk a little bit further. And there in front of us are the elders and the chiefs in their full dress. There's a big fire. It's a welcoming fire. And you see them waving you, come and come, 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 come. And we sit, and the pipe is raised, and the message is, my child, my children, we are all relation. We are breath with earth. Welcome all of us into your heart. And know sacred. Be sacred. Welcome all of the roots of time. And now, each of us get to walk our own journey for a minute with our very own personal ancestors. Ask any question, and you will receive an answer today. Walk, sit, be, breathe. Even if you don't know their name, ask all the ancestors any question. Slowly come back to wherever you're sitting, wherever you're laying. And the ancestors and the guides that are here are very appreciative of your openness, of your willingness, and of your appreciation. The story is, when we can, for a split second each day, breathe in right here and just say welcome and be in reception instead of doing. What does that mean? How do we do that? Music, sounds, prayer, opening of the heart, remembering this moment. But reception is different than all of the things that we do. It's different than praying. It's different than meditating, drumming, singing, dancing, working, all the different ways that maybe we find our center, each individually. Being in reception means literally that, welcoming that which the universe, your angels, your spirit guides, your higher self, your wisdom wants to share with you, wants to guide you. You may hear, don't wear that. Go left today, not right. You may just get a deep breath and have a moment of appreciation. I'm still here. People love me. I love them. Even if, whatever our even if is. When we can do that, this is the gift that we've all been given today, because none of this I knew. And I'll have to watch it in order to remember. Being in reception might lead us to dancing, might lead us to a sense of that freedom, might feel like the whale, might feel like those wild horses. It might feel like rock and roll. It may be just silence. But the breath comes here to here to here. So let's try it. And hold. Excellent. Do it again. And hold. and hold. Please note the instant opening of the heart chakra. Okay, let's do it again so you can really note it. Yeah. I welcome. I welcome help. I receive guidance. I am here. In receptivity means that we are in full connection, well, basically, of the strings of the universe. We are anyway, but there's something about welcoming them. And that always means our roots, because we bring all of the story with us in the whispers of our heart. So knowing our stories, honoring our stories, the good and the bad. Just a little side note about a physical way in which the past will come with us. Now that we can study DNA and learn more about our genetic structure, which is very exciting, there are indigenous people in the islands, the Caribbean islands, Puerto Rico, etc., the Taino. And they were, after Christopher Columbus, it was believed that 90% of them died through illness and genocide, etc. There have been very few, and I had the privilege a couple of years ago to meet the Taino chief, the cacique. And he took me to the sacred land that now belongs to the government, but they're allowed to use it. We talked. But the point of this is several years ago, while geneticists were looking to see, were there any true, pure blood Taino left? Because those that are still celebrating and honoring their traditions. He was amazing. He was the chief through generations. What they discovered, and I'm not going to remember in this moment the number, but a high percentage of people living in Puerto Rico had Taino genetics. So they're all like out there discovering their inner Taino, which is really beautiful. What that tells me is, physical evidence of what we're speaking about in energy and in story, that it all comes with us. Our stories, our ancestors, from the beginning of time, Jung called it the collective unconscious. But look, there's physical evidence that it stays in us. So our job is to note what are the thought patterns and behavior patterns that don't serve us, that are most likely also ancestral, and welcome and receive the guidance of what will take us to better, to think better, to feel better, to honor better. And when we do that, our immune system responds and it gets stronger and we have more joy because, well, we just do. And I think we all understand that. So it's an opportunity to live in reception and to be aware of old patterns, because as we welcome, we're going to note them more and we can choose. I know we hear that a lot, but this exercise, breathe and hold, it will help a great deal to remember the beat of Mahabhumi will help. I want to thank you for allowing me to be a vessel today for the ancestors to share what they needed to share, to receive, to be one with and collaboration with the beautiful sacred hoop that we've created. Yeah. We are all relation. Oh.